SallyRide, First American Woman in Space. By me, Fannie Mamlin. SallyRide was born on May 26, 1951 in Encino, California. When Sally was 9 years old, her parents decided that it would be cool to take the girls out of school and travel the world, so her family packed up and went to Europe for an entire year. While they were gone, Sally's parents tutored the girls in reading, writing, and math. But most of their days were filled with exploring, learning new languages, and having fun. While Sally was in Spain, she learned to play tennis and became a really good player. After they returned home, Sally played more and more tennis. When Sally was in high school, she was ranked the 18th best junior tennis player in the United States. But it was also in high school that Sally learned to love science. In 1968, she went to college for a while, but then decided that she wanted to try to be a professional tennis player, so she dropped out of college to play tennis. She tried to be a tennis pro for 2 years, but decided she wasn't quite good enough, so she went back to college to study science and outer space. While she was in college, she saw an advertisement in the college newspaper. It was for NASA, which is the organization that launches rockets into space. NASA was looking for people to become astronauts. Sally thought that sounded interesting, so she signed up and was actually chosen to be an astronaut. After joining NASA, she had to learn everything about her new spacecraft, the Challenger space shuttle. She had to learn what all the buttons were for, and she had to learn about weightlessness, because in space there's no gravity, so an astronaut's body just floats around. After 4 whole years of training, Sally finally got to go into space. In the early morning of June 18, 1983, Sally and a crew of 4 other astronauts climbed aboard the Space Shuttle Challenger and blasted off into space. The purpose of the flight was to deliver 2 big satellites into space and do some other experiments, like study the effects of weightlessness on the astronaut's body. Sally's special job was to control the robotic arm that moved satellites around outside the space shuttle. Sally and the crew had lots of fun floating around inside the space shuttle. They even played games like floating food in the air and pushing each other in the air to try and catch the food in their mouths. After 7 days in space, Sally and the crew returned safely to Earth. SallyRide had made history. She was the first American woman to go into outer space. Afterwards, Sally told reporters that her time in space was the most fun she had ever had in her whole life. In 1987, Sally stopped being an astronaut and became a college professor. Today, she teaches physics at the University of California in San Diego. Sally also likes to talk to children about the importance of science and taking care of our planet. From what I've learned, SallyRide had it all. She was an athlete, a scientist, and loved adventure. and she was curious about the world around her. And who knows, if I study hard and take a few risks, maybe I'll make history someday too.